You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. No fluff, just their experiences and stories from people who are making it happen. And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals. Now, on to the show. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for the Live Local Marketing Podcast. Today, we're with Dr. Bruno. Sir, how are we feeling today?
Hello, Billy. Thank you for the invite. I feel very honored to be here. I'm very well. Thank you.
Excellent. So we're going to do this, and I've been practicing the name because I'm determined to get the name right. So Doctor, a little bit of introduction about him, and then we'll get right to the questions. Dr. Bruno Cignacco is an international business consultant, international speaker, and business coach. For 20 years, he's advised and trained hundreds of companies on international trade activities, international marketing. He's a university speaker. He's a senior fellow of the Higher Education Academy. He's also the author and business of personal development books, published in many different languages. And his book now is titled The Art of Compassionate Business, which we'll talk about at the end. So all set. There we go. Now we know about Dr. Bruno. Ready for the questions?
Thank you.
All right, let's do it. Talk to us about your first win.
Well, my first win was many years ago. I have very good memory. And this was when I started advising companies on international marketing. I'm specialized on international marketing, which means developing international marketing strategy, for example, for import and export activities. I remember that my first client didn't even have a website, and we're talking about many years ago.
Nice.
And I have to advise them on how to develop a multilingual website. This means a website where you can get different messages in different languages, because this person was focused on the European market. And we have to develop this from scratch, and from zero to nearly 20 containers per month, and this was a very big win and very profitable too.
Nice. Okay, so when you deal with international trade and so forth, how do you deal with the nuances in language? Because just because you know a language doesn't mean you know like some of those detail words that are jargon and so forth. How do you deal with that?
Very interesting, because you cannot rely only on translators or, for example, AI translators. You have to look for local people that can retro-translate. Retro-translate means translating the message in the language of the country of destination back to the language in the country of origin. So this means that you always have to double check, because little nuances can make a lot of difference and can make the whole message, the promotional message, fail. So we have some cases that, for example, have nuances in the use of, for example, Chinese language, that you have different languages there, and we have to check with the Chinese local in order to see that the message was right to the spot and was clear. So it's worth paying for a local citizen in the country of destination to retro-translate.
Do you use or leverage some of your university connections too? Like, I'm sure you have university and teachers and so forth in different areas.
No, not for my consultancy activities. I use the network in the academic environment for research. I'm researching a lot, but for international trade activities, we have a network of different contacts worldwide that we connect to each other, and we try to help each other develop what we call strategic alliances, partnership where we can help each other. If they need some support from our country of origin, we can provide them with support, and vice versa. These are very important because they are complementary skills. We can help them, they can help us. But in the research field, I obviously use my network of academic colleagues that can help me, in some cases, develop papers, conduct some research studies, and so on.
Got it. That's good. So array of connections. That has to be vital for the process. So let's talk about budgeting. So you're dealing with a lot of international and so forth. Budgeting can be a concern because you need to know local markets. You need to know currency. You need to know lots of different factors. How do you help your clients in one area plan for those budgetary issues that you see with international connections? A quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
Very important. We have to differentiate two important cases. When the company is already internationalized, they will have a much more stable budget. Why? Because they have a supply that is tend to be stable over time. When the company is initiating their journey in the international arena, the budget is always estimated, and we have to advise companies to consider, for example, some expenses or costs, for example, catalogs, for example, developing website as investment. We don't consider them as costs or expenses to be deducted from revenues, but we consider from the much broader perspective as investment. These are investment to unearth new markets, to unearth uncharted territories. So, and these are very important because you are competing with players that are already well established in the marketplace. And if you don't have a mentality of investment, this means we will try to allocate the most important amount of resources in order to differentiate ourselves from the already established competitors. It will be very difficult for a company to break up in a market.
Oh, yes. All right. So internet, so the existing competitor. So I'm sure internet has definitely changed everything about the European and international trade and so forth. But when you start getting into it, do you have to also know like cultural norms and so forth? Like, because I mean, you could offend somebody by selling certain things or pushing stuff in certain markets. Is that a concern?
It's a very important concern, and we can classify the cultures in the world scenario into two main types, what we call collectivist cultures, for example, Chinese market, Japanese market, most of the countries in the South Asia area, but also Middle East markets. And then we have what we call individualist markets, United States, UK. This is very important, different because these market dynamics are completely different. In the collectivist market, for example, China, Japan, and so on, people privilege and prioritize the building of relationship before closing deals. This means that if you want to develop a very good contract with this other party, you have to first know each other on a personal level. For example, you can have some social event like dinners to know each other, to comment in some cases about completely different topics unrelated to business. Instead, in the individualist cultures, time is money. Yeah. We want to close the deal as soon as possible. We don't care so much about the relationship. So two different approaches. And what happened? In some cases, there tend to be a clash between we come, for example, in the UK from an individualist culture with a person, a buyer that is from a collectivist culture, for example, Chinese market. And we have to adapt. Generally, the buyer won't be the person that will be adapting. The seller will be customer-oriented, buyer-oriented. They will try to adapt their view, try to be as collectivist as possible. So this is a very important point because not all countries and not all cultural environments are alike. But also, do we need a very important concept in international marketing? Do we need some adaptation of our product? Does the packaging need to be adapted because some colors have a negative connotation in some market? For example, white could be purity in some market, but could be representing death in other markets. And do we need some adaptation, for example, in the flavors? So we sell a lot of food products. Do this food need to be much more spicy? Does it need to be much more like a mild flavor or soft flavor? So these very micro differences are quite important because at the end, customers in the local market that are accustomed to this type of nuances, and this is important for the seller, for the exporter to be as adaptive as possible, because if not, other companies will do.
So I'm sure we could talk the entire podcast just on that topic, but I'm moving along. So that is such a great topic. So, all right, let's use AI. So does AI help you track any of those things? What are some of the things you're doing with AI in regards to all that diversity?
Well, I call AI a high-tech tool, but I always say in all my training and consultancy activity that high-tech tools on their own, they are not enough. There should be always high-tech plus high-touch. This means high-tech using all this AI, for example, bots or AI-driven software, and at the same time, never lose contact of the personal touch. This means, for example, you might have on your website, if you are selling international products worldwide, you can have AI bots, AI-driven bots. But You should include, for example, a phone line, a help phone line where the person, the buyer, can contact anyone working for this company if they have any doubts. So AI on its own, high tech, is not enough. There should be a synergy between high tech and high touch. I observe that many companies delegate, outsource everything to AI bots, AI software, and they lose the human touch, the human contact. And companies that have this dual approach, high tech and high touch, will be having a competitive edge, a competitive advantage over the rest. Why? Because people at the end crave for human connection. If they have doubts, will be a bit annoyed and upset when they're talking to a bot that won't understand their emotion, their feeling, their frustration. So we need to incorporate both approaches, high tech and high touch.
So, all right. So if you're doing international and there's a high touch, how do you do that? If you're, let's say you have a company in Britain and you're fielding calls in China, to make that personal, who do you have to have sitting in that chair? Who's going to be the one fielding these calls?
Well, someone qualified and someone that has a customer orientation, someone that does not want to sell products. You can say, what are you saying? Someone that doesn't want to sell products, someone that has the duty of serving customers. It's not the same selling products, but serving customers. This means that we should put on the chairs of people that are interacting with customers, people with an attitude of service, people that will be not only satisfying customer need, but exceeding customer need. Even when this implies recommending other products that might not be sold by our company. But this pay off a lot. Why? Because when you are fully customer oriented, customer can feel it. And customers are more prone to reciprocate. They will try to help you. They will try to leave positive review. They will try to recommend your product. Instead, when you are self-centered, means only focusing on sales, what I call the sales attitude, customers also discover this very easily and will try to withdraw. They like not to cooperate. Why? Because they will ask, what is in for me? What is in for me? They're talking about their commission, their sale. They try to sell me the most expensive product that I don't want. I want the most suitable for me. So when you're customer oriented, when you have an attitude of service, and you try to exceed the customer's needs, what I call in marketing delighting customer, this company easily differentiate themselves from others. Why? Because they have a personalized approach. They treat each customer as unique, and they don't try to offer a standardized product that are valid for all of them. They try to use a very personalized and differentiated approach for each customer.
That's really good. So you have to have your sales seats and your service seats, and you have to keep those separated. That's really awesome. That's a great idea. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit. So talk to us about some of the cold marketing ideas that you're using with your clients that are working really well right now.
Cold marketing. Well, I like more warm marketing because I like to initiate relations. Yes, because cold selling doesn't work so much. It's a very traditional approach that many companies insist in using. Yeah. But I believe in relationship because at the end, I am against, I'm a marketer for more than 30 years. I'm against some of the traditional concept of marketing. For example, you cannot force customers to buy your product. This concept of marketing that is very common, customer retention. You cannot retain customers. You can satisfy their needs and they will be with you willingly, but you cannot retain. Yeah. And the concept of cold selling means trying to initiate a relationship without trying to sell product without having an interaction. Doesn't work. I will use a different approach. What value can I add to this customer free for them, for them, in order to create a positive imbalance so that they feel compelled, obligated, indebted with me, and they will come to me willingly. So this means that they will come to me. So what we do in practice, for example, when I use training, when we deliver training services to companies as part of our consultancy activities, we give a free talk to companies. We give a free talk on what is, for example, our latest research, how compassionate business work for companies, how to develop a much more psychologically safe workplace. And if they're intrigued, we can mention briefly at the end that we can also offer much deeper, much more advanced services, but with no string attached. So this means that this free talk is delivered. In some cases online, in some cases offline, depending how near is the company. And we know string attached, and this will make them feel obligated at least to find out more. So this means that this is a warm approach. And generosity begets generosity. When you are generous with customers without asking anything in return, they are more prone to give you something back, to come back to know more about your product. Instead, when you are so determined and so obsessed on selling products, so customers feel this tension, feel this anxiety, and they will tend to withdraw, tend not to cooperate, and calling. I haven't seen this working at all. I don't like.
Don't like it. Yeah, I knew you and I would be friends. I knew we'd be buddies. I don't like the cold stuff either. It's the trust. You're talking trust, giving and trusting. That's perfect. So you talk about the talk, and the talk ends up being an example of a way you give somebody. Do you ever like record those? What role does video and video marketing play in the marketing that you do?
Well, in some cases, when we give these free talks, we allow the company to keep the video and review. They are interested in replaying these videos. This is not a problem for us, but video is very important. Video can be classified in two ways. Pre-recorded video is important to explain things much more clearly. In some cases, I use it for the academic environment. In some cases, to train companies, we provide an introductory video. But I feel that also video conferencing as part of video marketing is very important because maintains a very important equilibrium between high tech and high touch. It's a very exquisite tool. Why? Because you can connect to others worldwide. This didn't happen before the pandemic, it was a rarity, and now it's so common. And then help you see the body language, help you see how people, you can have a feel on how they are experiencing their emotion, they are agreeing or not. So this is very useful. As compared with bots that are kind of more impersonal, I like video marketing, I like video conferencing marketing. So this means that to for example, give free talks or give like a free training, a very like a taster, will be very useful. Why? Especially for services, because services, as you might know, you cannot return services. So people want so they want to try your services at least in a small amount, and a free training course, let's say 40 minutes, it will be a very nice way as compared with products that the product is faulty, you can always send back. So for services, video conferencing marketing is a very exquisite tool.
It is. And they, like you said, they can see your face. They can hear your tone.
They can see, for example, slides. You can show, for example, a statistics slide. You can show, for example, a example of cases of companies that were successful or they went from point A to point B. You can have a lot of graphical examples or charts or diagrams. Very useful. And at the same time, you maintain the human connection, which is key. In the future, with the widespread use of AI, the human connection will be the differentiating factor. Remember what I'm saying. We will talk probably in 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's shift gears one more time. Let's say we have a client, a customer, or somebody that you're working with, and they just don't have that confidence. They're like, hey, listen, I love my product. I don't have the confidence to do more marketing or take it out somewhere else or do any speech. How does the conversation look for you to try to talk their confidence up a little bit?
Well, first, there should be a switch in the focus. If they're focusing too much on themselves, I will say marketing is about focusing on others. You have to ask regularly this question and ask this self-reflection question on a regular basis. How can I add value to others? Do not think about profits. Do not think about sales. Do not think about market share. All these key performance indicators are important, but the first part is more important. How can I add value to others? What are my skills? What are my talents? What are, for example, products that I can offer that can add value? How can I improve people's life? How can I make them feel positive emotion? Because customer satisfaction is about making people feel positive emotion. And then when you discover this, you can add the second part of this question is, how can I add value to others profitably? But profit doesn't come at the beginning, come at the end. First, you discover the value that you can add, and then you add the profit. And this is common sense. Many people don't understand this common sense. You can only get profit when you add value to others. you cannot get profit before. So the profit are the side effect, the positive side effect of adding value to others. If you didn't add value to others, you might get away with getting profit once, but you won't build a relationship with this customer because this customer will be dissatisfied, will leave negative reviews, will push other customers away. And so the most important question is, how can I add value to others? And you can even make the question much more specific in a remarkable way, in a unique way, so that customer come to me without me selling anything, because makes sales process irrelevant. Is the product or the service that I'm offering is so good that customer come to me without me promoting anything. This is the best way to get loyalty. And I mentioned before this, that is, it's not about satisfying customer need only. Any company, basic company with no knowledge of marketing can do this. How can I exceed customer need? Go beyond what is expected. How can I surprise customer in a positive way so that I create this imbalance? I'm more generous than they expect me to be. And for example, if I'm selling a computer, I will give a coding course free. They don't expect this, but I'm giving this free because I create this positive imbalance and they're feeling indebted toward me and they're more prone to leave positive reviews and also recommend my products to other customers.
And trust. A lot of trusted. Trust is a huge part of that.
Trust is very important because trust is the glue of all sustainable relationships. And sustainable relationships are only the ones where the needs of both parties are fully met. You do not want to develop a relationship where there is an imbalance, where you win and the other party loses. You win as a company selling the most expensive product and the customer don't want this product. They don't feel satisfied with this product. You want to build a relationship where there is a win-win exchange, and this exchange is more prone to bring about trust. And trust is a very important cost saver, because when you trust people, you don't have in many cases to incur in developing very expensive or very detailed contracts that tie both parties. You trust your word, you trust that they will deliver that promise, and you only promise what you can deliver. So this is very important, and this is quite uncommon in many cases in the marketplace.
That's perfect. It's all the stuff I teach. It's perfect. All right, so doing all the things, you've been doing it for a very long time. What are the types of things you do? Because this is our new 10-cent word with all the AI. You can handle all parts of a business. How do you avoid burnout? How do you avoid like the overworking and relax a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you what I do myself and what I recommend companies to do too, because we're training companies on this. Human beings, including people, professionals like us working, and employees working for a company, they all have different type of needs. And many people forget this little detail that is quite important. They have economic needs. This means need for
You were here. Your microphone went out. It went out real quick. Did you unplug it or anything by accident there? No. We lost you. Here, we want to. Here, I'll move you. Yeah. No. It was out of nowhere. Did anything? There you go. Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Do you turn it up a little bit? Like it was really low, right?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Yep. There you go. We lost you there for a second. Oh, now we lost you again. Did you have? No. No. Did you hit a button or something? It says their mic isn't connected up.
What about now?
There you go. Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure.
What happened there?
They disconnected. I'm not sure. Technology. Well, I'm not sure before. So the idea is that
let's do that. Let's do the burnout one again. Hold on one
Okay.
second. Let's do this. I can reset it and I'll ask you the burnout question over again. Ready? Okay. All right. So we had a little technical difficulties. We're back on track here with Bruno. So let's talk about are you there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Sorry. Let's do this again. All right. You were sitting very still, and so I thought you froze.
No. I'm here.
All right. We had some little technical difficulties, but we're back ready to go. So let's talk about rephrase the question. So burnout. There's so many things going on. We can handle all the different things. How do we talk to ourselves and companies about the idea of burnout to help rejuvenate our staff and our energy?
Very interesting question. Well, I will tell you what I apply to myself and also what I recommend that companies should do when we advise company to become stress-free. In practice, we have to understand that all people, including customer, employee, professional like us, we have different type of needs. We have economic needs, for example, need for a good compensation or retribution for our work, our services, but also we have emotional needs. We have need to be recognized, appreciated, supported, valued by the companies, by the customer, suppliers, and so on. And also we have mental need for stimulation, learning new things, being coach or participating in workshop, listening to podcasts. And also we have social needs. This is a very important thing. When you are too focused on, for example, business project, work project, you tend to deplete your energy, in some cases unwittingly. What many companies do, and I recommend that companies should do, is having once a week a social event where people working for this company, they can meet, for example, Friday evening. They go to a restaurant, they go to a bar, and they have fun, and they talk about completely unrelated topics related to work. So they don't talk about work topics. They talk about family, friends, they talk about the hobbies. Research has shown that when people have this type of social events, I call them playful events, when they have this type of events, they go back to work revitalized. They go back to work also with a lot of energy, and they tend to connect to their colleagues on a much deeper way, much more meaningful way, because they don't know each other only on a work level, but they know also on a much more emotional and mental level because they have informal chats. So this is the best way. On my personal practice, also I practice meditation every day because I feel that the calm mind help you decide much better, make much wiser decision. I recommend that people also research suggests that you should go and be in contact with nature at least a couple of times a week. Why? Because help you release the stress. So these are few things that company can implement. Some companies, for example, here in the UK, what they organize retreats in nature places for their employees, paid by the company. And they consider this is as an investment in well-being. Why? Because they know that employees will feel much more relaxed, less stress, and they're more prone to suggest innovative ideas, creative insight for new product or services.
That is exactly a great answer. That's awesome. All right. So as we cash out today, so we're going to give you the outro where you talk about your business and your book that you want everybody to buy. They should all buy this book because all the ideas are the same exact ideas I teach on a regular basis. So I'm in full agreement. And then where can people get a hold of you? And then we'll get you out of here.
Okay. Well, they can find me on LinkedIn, my LinkedIn account. They can check, and also they can check one of my website, www.brunocignacco.com with double C at the end. And also they can check my latest book, the second edition of the book titled The Art of Compassionate Business, white cover, published by Routledge. And they can find this book online, for example, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and also in any bookshop, physical bookshop worldwide. Thank you.
Okay. That is awesome. So, and you've been doing this for 30 years. So obviously this has been working. So this is an old traditional way of doing face-to-face war marketing, and it works. Do it. Get his book, check him out. And we appreciate your time and your help today. And good luck with all the rest of the year.
Thank you very much.